All right, everyone, welcome to Author Mastery Insights. I am with Dr. Grant Dennis. Dr. Grant, brother, welcome. It's great to have you here.
My brother from down under, it is great to be here. Arkansas is beautiful, much like Australia. It's beautiful outside. It's been storming for 3 straight days. So all is well here.
Oh, that's good. Well, if anyone can make good of a storm, it will be you. And, I'm excited for this conversation. I think everyone will be excited too, because one, not only you are your best-selling author of this incredible book, I love it, Life Without Migraines, but you are, and for those not familiar with the incredible work beyond this book, and we're going to talk more about this obviously today, he is an incredible entrepreneur, philanthropist, an upper cervical specific doctor of chiropractic. And while in full-time practice, he also works as the COO, Chief Operating Officer, for the specific chiropractic centers franchise, which is currently about 15 clinics nationally, but also manages the international outreach program in conjunction with the Art of the Specific, which is a philanthropic initiative that provides chiropractic services to underserved and unregulated areas of the world, such as El Salvador, Mexico, the Philippines, and many other places, because we want to have chiropractic serving the world in a profound and powerful way. And also alongside Dr. Sean Dill, he teaches the Art of the Specific knee chest, solid headpiece, upper cervical technique to aspiring students and dedicated doctors from all over the globe. He is also the president of IFCO, the International Federation of Chiropractors and Organizations, and chairs the Political Action Committee. But we are going to talk about, in addition to his incredible work within the profession, A Life Without Migraines, a little holistic and little known method for living a headache-free life. As I said, this is a great book. I loved it, and I loved it for a number of reasons. It's so principled, so effective, and it talks in the language to what patients suffer from, frustrated about, and are looking for solutions for. So Dr. Grant, tell us a little bit about A Life Without Migraines.
Yeah, it was largely a motivation from the patients that I serve, the people that I take care of. Were just coming in, and I kept hearing this recurring thing over and over and over and over again, which many of your viewers, I'm sure, who are in chiropractic, especially in the world of taking care of really sick people, which is what our profession was founded on, was, I just kept hearing over and over and over again this phrase: why has no one told me about this? Why did no one tell me sooner? Why did nobody send me here quicker? Why did somebody literally just let me suffer from this for years until my friend told me about this? And I kept hearing this over and over again. And so it was sort of a self-motivation. And it was like, you know what? I'm going to put something out there that is going to reach that person who is saying these things, why haven't I never heard about this before? Why haven't I ever been introduced to this? Oh, there's this book. And it's funny because I used a company called Scribe Media to help me write a book. And so if you're somebody out there aspiring to write a book, I would highly encourage that you use somebody like a Scribe Media to help you through that process, because it makes the ability of what the message that you're trying to portray to people from a third party, unbiased perspective, get it to your viewers and the people that need to hear it better and more effectively. Because one of the things that's tough is when you're an author, you think you have all these things you want people to hear and all these things that they should know. But there's really no better person to understand who it is you're trying to reach than the person you're trying to reach themselves. And so I remember as I was going through the process of writing it, I essentially was trying to reach people who are sick and suffering. And almost every single person that ideal client, look to attract, suffers from some sort of headache, migraine, accompanied with all these other things, whether it's ulcerative colitis, digestive issues, sleep issues, energy levels, fatigue. They always check the box of headache, migraine for some reason. And I just found that I had a very good niche for migraine people. And it makes sense coming from an upper cervical perspective of utilizing a knee, chest, upper cervical technique that I do. And so I literally was going through this process of how do I reach this person? And I'll never forget Tucker Max, who owned Scribe Media for years. He said, he's a 3-time New York Times bestseller. I'm an Amazon bestseller. The Amazon bestsellers envy the New York Times bestsellers, and he's got 3 of them. He said, Grant, it's very simple, because I was having a hard time with the title and who I wanted to reach. He said, what is it that your client is looking to have? And I said, well, A Life Without Migraines. And he goes, well, that's your title. And I said, well, because people sometimes will come in and say, hey, what do you recommend for migraines? And I say, A Life Without Migraines, and so that was sort of the motivation. It was a personal piece. It was just something that took me about 8 months to write, about a year to publish. It came out right during the middle of a pandemic when everyone's sitting at home reading Kindle. Met the marketplace at the right time. It's been hitting the right people. It's been a blessing for me, but also for the people I've been able to take care of as a result of it. And if you're somebody out there who, aspires to reach more people, writing a book certainly is an incredible way to do it.
I love that. That's a great message. And the thing that I take away from that is, right at the beginning, you said, there are people out there that are suffering needlessly, are frustrated and disillusioned with their experiences they're having. And they get to chiropractic and they say, why didn't I find out about this earlier? That's that frustration of mine that, and I've heard it, and we almost celebrate it in a way. Some of us, this idea that chiropractic is the best kept secret. We are this transformative profession, but I don't celebrate it. I frustrate over it. I think it's a travesty that more people don't know about the gifts of chiropractic, the impact of chiropractic. And by you writing a book, you're meeting people where they're at and leading them where they need to go and giving them an opportunity to experience the results, the hopes, the dreams that they have for a life without migraines. How is this book received? You said it met the market at the right time and place. How has it been received by those people who've picked this up and said, I've got it, and they call you and what it means for their life?
Yeah, it's been an incredible loss leader for my business, in this at the specific chiropractic centers, because a lot of the marketing things that I do eventually lead them to either grabbing a free copy or coming into the office to pick up a free copy. I wrote this book not to make money off of it, and that's where I think some people miss the mark on becoming an author, is they think, oh, I'm going to write a book and I'll make some money off my book. And if you do it correctly, you will, but you won't do it through book sales. You'll do it through the people that you get to take care of as a result of it. And so that was one thing that was early on evident to me, was you're not going to make money off this book. However, you can monetize it if it hits the right people that it needs to hit. You change their life in a way and then incur dollars as a result of it. But it's been really well received. I remember writing it, and I remember one of the things that they made us write down as the process that I went through was two things. What are you going to do when you have the first copy in your hands? You had to write down what you were going to do. And then I remember the second thing was, what are you going to do and how are you going to celebrate the first time somebody comes in and says, had I not read your book, I'm not sure I'd be alive today. And I will never forget the first time the first copy came in and it hit my hands and I popped a cork of champagne, because that was just kind of my thing I'd drawn at the time. And I remember the second one was, how are you going to celebrate when the first person comes in and says, as a result of this book, my life has been forever changed, or in some way, ascended for the better ever since I got my hands on this book. And I remember like it was yesterday, the first person, it was a lady named Angie who came in and she said, I read this book, and for 2 straight weeks, I tried to pretend like everything in here was not real. I tried to believe that this can't be this easy, that it can't be the upper bone in my neck being potentially misaligned from traumas I'd suffered in the past, that it couldn't have been that easy. She said, but it was. She said, I didn't even tell you when I came in that I read your book because I didn't want you to, look at me funny. She said, but she started care. She got great results. And she then later, talked about how she had, contemplated suicide. She had been, felt depressed because she couldn't be the mom she wanted to be. She was on all these medications, which were leading to weight gain and all these things, right? And we all know the stories in our offices that occur. But I remember very specifically what I had written down was the way I was going to celebrate that was that I was going to take my wife on a vacation for a week. And that day we booked that vacation because I said that was the impact, and that was just at the time the reward I had attached to it, but the thing of it is, if it was just one person, right? If it had just been that one person, then the whole process, which by the way is writing a book, is childbirth for a male. Any author who knows this, who has authored a book knows this. It's a difficult task. It's daunting, and it does take a long time. And it takes a tremendous amount of discipline. But I challenge a lot of students and a lot of docs, especially, to write books, to put yourself aside, put yourself through the process. We all have a story and we all have a message that we need to hit people with. And quite frankly, to me, if you were walking around with the cure for cancer and you didn't reveal that to somebody or to the community, people would hold you unethical for that. And I feel like we have have had since 1895 the unlocking health potential that gets sick people well. And for you to not go spread that message, and for you to not put that in a book and put it out there for people to consume and then come seek your services. And more importantly, one of my favorite parts about this book is it has allowed me to be able to, not me personally, but as a result of the book, refer to chiropractors all over the world. I I mean, I just referred last week a couple to London, a couple to Singapore, in Asia, and it's always cool to get like a little royalty payment of $5 or $6 from like Singapore. And I don't know where it comes from or who accessed it, but someone bought the book in Singapore, which means that they heard the story. And so to me, that's what's cool about it is, yes, it has helped me locally. I think more importantly, it's helped chiropractic, and it's helped more docs reach more people, get more people in their offices who are pre-qualified, understand the message. And most importantly, which was my biggest thing about writing the book, was to introduce them to what is chiropractic and what is not chiropractic. Because the worst thing that could happen is somebody then walk into an office under the premise of chiropractic and it not be chiropractic. And then now we've got a problem, because now they had an experience they thought was chiropractic, which then not only led them away from chiropractic, potentially it made them frustrated with chiropractic. And we've all seen that, and it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, my give to the reader in it was to also be able to know how to find a chiropractor near them. What are the questions to be able to ask, to know, because when you put your name on a book, that's your reputation. So when someone develops trust with you through your particular, acumen, and then they need to be referred somewhere, which is best case scenario. I just hope it's someone who's principled, lives in the principles, vertebral subluxation, and they're centric in their analysis and technique. And if they are, then we know what the result's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time as well. With this, I love you. I mean, you've just so elegantly, so powerfully painted the picture of why you wrote the book, how you went about doing that, getting the support necessary, the impact that it's had on the lives of those around you, the value it's had to you and yourself, and the journey that you've been on. So really my last question is, and in a way you also answered by telling the people watching this or listening to this that they have to write a book. There's an obligation that they've got to write a book because they have a life-changing message. You've answered that question, but I'm going to phrase it in a different way as well. Now, you've been in practice for some time. You've achieved some incredible accolades, but it's taken you a long time to get to the point where you've written a book and you've shared this message. What would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know now, having the insights that you have in relation to the impact that it's had and the way that it's changed so many lives near and away from you? What would you have told yourself 20 years ago as a new grad, or saying that I don't know enough to be able to write a book, or I don't believe that I'm the right person at the right time, and that wasn't the case for you when you launched this? What do you tell your younger self to become an author?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna first make a few viewers mad to let them know that I'm only 33. So to look back at my younger self, some would say you're already looking at your younger self. But yeah, if I could go back, 10, let's say, I've been in practice 7 years now, and so I graduated from Parker College of Chiropractic Medicine back in, of course, I'm kidding, back in 2015. And so I've been out 7 years. I think if there's one thing that I could have told my younger self, because when I was in undergrad, I was a college baseball player, and I thought that I would play college. I thought I was going to play baseball the rest of my life. And that's what every 18-year-old who goes into college on a college scholarship thinks, is I'm just going to be a Major League Baseball player. But I remember I always thought I was going to go medical route. And so I had applied to go to medical school, didn't really have a chiropractic background or a chiropractic, understanding. I never had that chiropractic miracle growing up or anything. And chiropractic truly found me, and it plucked me out of undergrad and said, you will be a chiropractor. And I think if I were to go back and talk to my younger self again, I think what I would have said was, be more open-minded and more open to listening for advice. I think that a lot of times we think that we're not supposed to ask for advice, that we're not supposed to. It's a lot of times what I see in chiropractic is chiropractors who struggle, oftentimes the most, they struggle because they're afraid to ask for help on any particular subject. And so, when it comes to asking for advice, I mean, that was just something I really struggled with until I was, probably just as early as even 2 to 3 years ago when I started the process of writing a book. I think that was the first time where it really hit me, and it helped me understand that there are people out there that you're depriving of their gifts to you, and the giving of their advice to you. You're taking that from people. And that's kind of a concept that David Meltzer, who's a mentor of mine, kind of instilled on me, is that people who are able to get where they want to go in life are able to latch onto the backs of other people and ask for advice and help to get them there quicker, instead of having to suffer from the dummy tax or the same mistakes that everyone else before them made. And so, I think if there was a younger, a younger me that I could speak to, I would have said, ask for advice, but also start the process quicker of anything you do. There's a lot of things that, one of the things I always like to say is the best things I've done in my life, I haven't done yet. And I hope that kind of speaks to all of us. And my big ploy to your viewership would be, put your story aside, put all the reasons why you think you can't write a book. You do. Everybody has a book inside of them. That's just the story you're telling yourself. You need to put that story aside, because at the end of the day, we've got volumes and volumes and volumes and multitudes, as BJ would say in the green books, out there, and all those great multitudes are people who need what we are seeking. And so the best way to reach them is through the authoring of a book. It gives us more credibility. It gives us more visibility. It gives us more trust automatically. And what it does as a profession is it lifts us all up so that when the seas ride, all ships rise, and a younger Grant Dennis could use that advice.
All of us could use that advice, and all of us are grateful for not only this book, but the contribution you've made to the profession. But what I do, I keep this in my waiting area so that people can have these conversations with me. I don't have to write this book to make this book massively valuable within my practice, within the community. And you've done that, Dr. Grant, and for that I'm grateful and appreciative. Everyone, you've heard him. We've got the multitudes to serve with the message that we have. Let's go out, write our books, serve chiropractic, serve humanity through chiropractic, and make the world a better place. Thanks, Dr. Grant. Appreciate you, brother.
My pleasure.